We're in the near $55,000 Toyota Crown. And the reason why it costs so much lies under the hood. Let's get into it. So should you be spending Lexus money for this sort of powertrain? We have a turbo 4-cylinder hybrid here. This has a 6-speed automatic, which is kind of unlike most Toyota and Lexus hybrids out there. Now we also have 2 electric motors, one in the front and one in the rear. Total horsepower is a massive 340 horsepower and 400 pound-feet of torque. I'm gonna roll that early morning 0 to 60 for you. It's impressive. 5.44. We're gonna call it a day on the 0 to 60. It's definitely quicker than any Camry I've driven with the V6, that's for sure. Now I'll tell you what kind of fuel economy I'm getting here in a little bit, but if you need better fuel economy, around 40 miles per gallon, you can get that on a much less expensive limited or XSE grade of the Toyota Crown. So let's get into the styling. We have the optional 2-tone paint color. It's definitely striking. I get a lot of looks on this car, and I don't know if it's because they find it beautiful or if it's just so different and unique that they can't not look at it. We have the black front end that goes around not only the hood and the headlights, continues on the roof and onto the rears. We'll find out in a little bit. I like the quad beam headlights. If you missed my nighttime review, go ahead and check that out so you can see how these headlights work at nighttime. These are the biggest wheels we've ever seen on a Toyota sedan. They call this a sedan. It does replace the Toyota Avalon, which if you guys know, if you've been around the channel for a while, I used to own one. But these 21-inch wheels only come on this platinum grade with this big old powertrain as well. Now, if this 2-tone paint color wasn't polarizing enough, this sloping roof line says the rest, I guess you could say. Cass, what are your thoughts on that sloping roof line? Yay or nay?
Yay.
You like it?
Oh, I think it's interesting.
It is interesting. It's unique, and I think it adds to the uniqueness of this vehicle, I guess. I don't know. It's a good thing that Toyota's trying to push the envelope with cars and the design, because in the past, they've just been a snooze fest with the design of their cars. Now, the 2-tone on the front, I think is okay, but when you come to the back, it's interesting. It looks like it's almost, actually, Cass, you had a better description for what I had. You said it looked like something.
I think it looks like a dog with funny spots.
Yeah, like Fido with random patches of spots at different spots on its body. That's what's going on with this 2-tone paint color for sure, especially on the back. But at nighttime, this light bar looks really good. We have the unique crown lettering. Toyota badges on the front and the back. Now, if you get this vehicle in the Japanese market, they have their unique crown badge. The crown over there is a cultural sensation. It is a pop culture icon, I guess you could say. And they didn't give us the same badges in America. So let me know down below if you would rather have the crown badges or the Toyota badges on the new Toyota Crown. Now, the Platinum model, like I said, only comes with this Hybrid Max. And if you're looking for the trunk opener, yes, it's a trunk. So this beautiful sloping roofline, but it's not a liftback or a 5-door. It's not a hatchback, it is a traditional sedan. But if you're looking how to open this, there's a little piece right here that looks like the button to open this, but it's actually the washer for the camera. So the actual button is actually right there. It's very unlike any other Toyota sedan or Lexus sedan that I've ever tested. All right, opening this up, I think this has around the same cubic feet of trunk space as the Camry, even though this is a bigger vehicle than the Camry, at least on the outside it is. We also have a spare tire in here, which is great to have, something that's a lost art nowadays, and tons of space. I think you can also fold down the seats, but it's just not as convenient as having the hatch where you have all this additional space of being able to fit things in there. However, it does come with another benefit of having a trunk instead of a hatch. We'll talk about here once we start driving. We're gonna go get into the back seat here. This is something that the Platinum, and I think the Limited Grade has it as well, which is smart key access for every single door. The base model only has a smart key access on the front door, I believe. So getting in the back, I have a good amount of leg room, but my head is brushing around on the roof. So if you can come in, let me show you this. There is a little cutout and a bubble here that my head can kind of sink into, but head space is very limited with this beautiful panoramic roof, which is standard on the Limited and the Platinum here. Now on the back, we have these heated seats for the outboard seats, which I think also comes on the Limited and Platinum grades. Vents back here, as well as 2 USB-Cs for the passengers. It was easy to get Gigi's car seat in as she's eating snacks. And if I fold this down, well, it's pretty high quality armrest, to be honest. And this flips out, this is almost like a backboard, because if someone slams on the brakes, your drinks are gonna topple over. So I like having the backboard to keep your drinks safe. All right, putting the Crown into drive here. This thing is incredibly smooth, incredibly quiet. We'll talk more about that in a little bit, but let's just go over the interior details here. We have two massive digital 12-inch screens. One is your infotainment with the wireless Android Auto that I have going on right now. You also have this big 12-inch customizable screen behind the steering wheel, which has all new software compared to other Toyota models out there, or at least this was the first model to have this sort of software. I accidentally triggered the voice recognition software somehow. The ride quality in the turns, like even with these 21-inch wheels, handles really, really well. Always in stealth mode. This thing is very quiet. I'm gonna get in the gas a little bit, and you still don't get hardly any vibration ever coming into the cabin. All right, but I don't want to get distracted. Let's get back into this interior design up front. Cass, your thoughts?
I like that it's pretty plain. It's not too obtruse, but the different colored metals are kind of a bummer.
Yeah, so there are plastic trimmings in here, and most of them have this nice kind of gold or faded gold accent around the volume knob, around the shifter, on the dash. But the problem is, as you pointed out, it's missing in certain places.
Right.
Like the door handles are plain silver. Meanwhile, the door, the window controls around the door are accented with that beautiful bronze.
So that's just a bummer.
This is a bummer, right?
The price point.
Yeah, you know, that's just...
And it's known for its looks, right? Like you get this car for the looks.
You get the car for the looks. This is unfortunate, but that's really just the only complaint that we have about this interior. We like the cup holders, we like the access to the wireless charger here. We do have a 360 camera on this, which you might want because this thing is pretty big and boaty. So having that 360 camera makes parking this thing a lot easier. You have USB-Cs right here, you have another USB-A in here to accompany the two USB-Cs in the back. Climate control is excellent in here. Now the AC isn't the coldest. I feel like the Camry hybrid that I drove about a month or two ago had colder AC. All right, we do have ventilated seats on this model. You also get them on the limited model. We have a heated steering wheel here as well, which is never going to be really needed except maybe for 1 or 2 days in Florida. I always get excited for those days when it does happen. And we can really take advantage of the heated seats and heated steering wheels in our press cars and whatnot.
But otherwise, it's beautiful. It's very sleek, modern.
You know, there's also an interior that I think you would really like. Now, this is just the black interior, which you and I are whatever. We're not a big fan of dark interior, especially here in Florida.
Not in Florida. Yeah, it's too warm.
Yeah, but they have this macadamia interior that accents, like all this is going to be like a nice creamy white. So, and the seats are a much brighter color. So, you know, that would be the one we would be going for, absolutely. I do have memory seats in here. I also have automatic folding mirrors. So when you lock the car at night, the mirrors fold in. I forgot to mention this on my nighttime review. When you approach the car at night, there's little puddle lamps that shine down from the side mirrors.
Oh, I love those.
That's great. Yeah, it's just like a little welcome light to let you know, hey, the car knows you're here.
Right.
All right, the brakes here. The car stops well, but the pedals on this car, whether it's a brake pedal or the gas pedal, they are heavy. And you can tell the heft of this vehicle when you bring it to a stop. I want to say it's around 4,600 pounds or something like that. And you really have to press the brake pedal hard to bring this vehicle to a stop. It does it very predictably and smoothly. It's just, you got to have some strong calf muscles to get, and maybe some quad muscles to help out too. The gas pedal is also interesting because the rear motor, the 80 kilowatt motor that provides a lot of smoothness in this vehicle and a lot of shove, because it's always on, when you get off the gas pedal, it immediately starts slowing down. And you can't change that regen effect no matter what. It's always on. These paddle shifters are not for changing regen, it's just for rowing through this 6-speed automatic gearbox. So you always have to be pressing the gas pedal quite firmly just to maintain like a steady state. which is strange because this vehicle is about luxury.
Right.
Meanwhile, you have to always like press on the brake pedal hard. You have to press on the gas pedal hard just to maintain your speed.
Yeah. It's a heavy car. The doors are heavy even.
The doors are heavy. Yeah. We can talk about the build quality of this. This thing feels like a tank.
Yeah.
It's one of the quietest vehicles I've ever tested. It's also one of the smoothest vehicles. I feel like this might even be smoother than the traditional Toyota hybrid system with the ECVT that we have like on our Prius and are pretty much on every other Toyota vehicle. This 2.4 liter, I don't ever feel any vibrations from it in this implementation here in the Crown. Now I've tested this powertrain on the Lexus 500H or the RX 500H, and I never felt like I had the same smoothness that I do here. So like it feels like we're driving an electric car, but we don't have any of that weird instant torque situation going on.
Yeah.
That it's like over responsive. So it's just very, very excellent powertrain. I'm liking it way more than I thought I would. And it does feel fitting, I think, for the amount of power and smoothness it gives you. It does feel fitting for an expensive $50,000 vehicle. I think this powertrain is worth the money. And I mentioned the electric motor in the back, and it actually adds to the smoothness. So typically when you're rowing through a gears in an automatic car, you feel the gears shifting. And that's just what everyone's used to in pretty much any car. But in this car, the electric motor in the back continues to push you while the front wheels are shifting gears.
Oh.
So what does that mean? Is, well, you don't ever feel the gear shifting because you never have that loss in system power when you're shifting gears because that motor in the back is always pushing you. It's very strange. So you hear the gears shifting, but you don't feel them.
Right.
So it makes for an extremely smooth, luxurious, and seamless experience. It was very impressive. Okay, so we had a weird situation this morning when I took the girls to school in this. They were playing for a little bit, and then in the second half of the drive, they were just whisper quiet because I feel like the energy of the car was just zen and bliss, and I was even at one point just like,
it lulls you.
Yeah, it just massages you into calmness because everything about this vehicle takes any sort of sounds from the road away, any sorts of powertrain sounds away, and when you have the radio off in here, it is just silence, quiet, smoothness, and bliss.
Well,
more so than
G's
even
sleeping.
Electric vehicles.
G's
Yeah, G's asleep. Yeah,
from
just
snacking to sleeping.
snacking to sleeping.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah, I could absolutely live with this powertrain on a day-to-day basis. And I'm just rolling into the gas. It's
beautiful,
unbelievably smooth.
Right.
Super, super impressive. And while you have 400 pound-feet of torque on tap, you are still getting 30 miles per gallon. So I have on average 30.5, but it actually could be better than that because I've been idling this car when I pick up the kids from school.
Yeah.
And it's just trying to keep that AC running cold. So I probably could be getting around 33 miles per gallon if I'm not sitting for an hour in traffic, or sorry, just in car line waiting to pick up kids.
So smooth with the 3-year-old snoring.
Yeah, I can hear her snoring like she's inside of my ear right now. And because this vehicle is so quiet, I do hear certain things I normally wouldn't. I get the slightest, I mean the absolute slightest amount of a little bit of wind buffeting or something going around the A-pillar. Typically don't hear it unless I'm at 45 miles an hour or faster. It's not loud. I can just hear it because the rest of the car is so freaking quiet. Also, when I hit broken pavement, which there's very few here, like potholes here in Florida, but when I do, I get a little creaking sound. And it's not necessarily from the dash or the door panels not fitting correctly because they all fit like a granite in here. It's this bezel that goes around the screens that sometimes when you hit something jarring, the car handles it masterfully, but then you hear like the little plastic creak up here that's around the screens. We just nailed that pothole.
Yeah.
And I didn't hear any creaking that time, and it handled it very smoothly.
So smoothly.
Yeah.
Usually that's...
G'd even break stride on her snores. All right, but this car isn't perfect. There is no head-up display available. There's no digital rearview mirror available as well, which is strange for such an expensive car. We see those features on much less expensive Toyota models, by the way. And I mentioned the lack of headroom in the back. At 6'1", I have the seat all the way down, and I've bumped my head several times. Like, I am at the utmost tallest person you could be at 6'1". I don't even have that long of a torso, but if I was any taller, I'd be smacking my head all the time on this roof. And so that's why maybe you should be getting the XLE model, the base model, save a little bit of money, and you could be getting a lot more headroom because it doesn't have this panel roof on it, so it gives you more space. Lastly, before we head in the office and talk about the buying guide, this JBL audio system, it sounds good. I actually had to turn the bass all the way down on the settings because the factory settings, it was just over bass, and then the door panels would rattle and the speakers doesn't sound very good.
Yeah.
So I turned it all the way down, and that way you can keep the volume pretty high and the sound system's pretty balanced. Cass, would this be a vehicle for a mom, or at least in your opinion?
Maybe a sporty mom of one. I wouldn't put 2 car seats back there. It takes away way too much space.
Yeah.
It's easy to reach back for your kiddo, but can a stroller fit in the back?
Yeah, probably in the trunk.
Okay, like a miniature, like a mini. Okay.
It just wouldn't be as convenient as like a hatchback.
So from a mom's standpoint, maybe not.
Okay. And you don't feel like you set up high enough, even though this is like a raised vehicle?
I know, you said it's a raised vehicle, but I feel like I'm in a tiny little sports car.
Yeah.
I don't know why. That's not a bad thing.
You know what it is? For me anyways, this windshield's really small.
Oh.
And what it does, it's also not only small, but it's raked really aggressively back, like a Prius. It feels like a Prius with the windshield. So yeah, I see what you mean there.
Yeah, it wouldn't be my first choice, but you know, I'm more of an SUV kind of a person at this point. Van.
Right. Van life, that's
van
me.
Life.
You like SUVs more, I like vans more, but it is what it is. You know, I mentioned the trunk earlier, and what's the big benefit of the trunk? Well, since it separates all that empty space away from the cabin, it makes it for a much quieter experience. It is so quiet in here, I don't hear anything behind the rear seats like you would in a crossover or an SUV that has just like this big booming cabin. So the Crown having a trunk has the one biggest benefit that it makes it a quieter, more serene experience on the inside. But let's head in the office to tell you if this platinum $50,000+ model is the one to get, or should you be looking at the limited or XSE grades. Like I mentioned, there are just 3 trim levels of the Toyota Crown. XLE with the cloth seats, you still get the big screens in it. You won't get heated rear seats, you won't get ventilated seats, but you do get heated front seats. I think you even get a heated steering wheel, and I think you might even get power folding mirrors if I remember right. So great model here. And remember, XLE and Limited have the 2.5 liter hybrid system with around 240 horsepower, but you get 40+ miles per gallon. That's the big difference here between these powertrains. Both of these are all-wheel drive standard. There's no front wheel drive option, for example. So I think the XLE is a great buy at $39,900. The thing is, you are limited on interior. So you only get black fabric, which I liked actually the black fabric when I saw it at the media drive. So, and there are also no packages available, so you can't upgrade the XLE. Now the Limited is a great buy as well, with the same powertrain as the XLE, but this one, you can get that macadamia leather that I was talking about when Cassie and I were driving this vehicle. It is really pretty interior. This is absolutely the way I would be going. It's so much more lively and attractive and just better in every single way. You have a lighter roofline too instead of a black roofline. So this, my friends, is the way to go with that lighter interior. That's actually probably one of the most important things for me if I was getting this car. In the review, you just saw the black leather. There's also black and dark chestnut, which is so similar that why would they, in my opinion, I don't understand why they would offer this black and brown trim level, which is so close to the straight on black one. The Limited could come with the advanced tech package, which will make it equipped pretty much like the platinum trim that you saw today. What does this do? Well, it gives you 21-inch wheels. Now, they're different finish than the 21-inch wheels on the Platinum. The Platinum are kind of these black and machine finished. I actually like the wheels that we have on the Advanced Tech package better than we have them on the Platinum. I think they're prettier. They're a silver finish, mono finish, instead of having that bitone like I mentioned. This also gives you the 360 camera panoramic view monitor. It gives you a digital key as well. To me, it's not a must-have, but if you really want those huge wheels to complete the look of the car, I get it. Then going to the Platinum, as much as I like the powertrain here, I don't recommend the Platinum trim because it is just so expensive. So we're heading on over to what's available in my area. Then we'll also look around the nation here. Now you can see in my area, the vast majority of models available are the limited trim. There's only 3 XLEs. Now the XLE should be around $40,000, but the markups in my area are out of control on this. If I look up XLE lowest price throughout the country, there we go. We're actually starting to see these come down off of sticker price, about $2,000 here. And I think this vehicle under $40,000 is an absolute steal. If you got to have leather seats, I get it. You would get the limited instead. I want to show you this deal I found on a limited. So you just got to be careful because this is listed as a Crown Limited, but it's actually an XLE. So it's not as a good deal as I thought, because the way I found out is you look on the inside and we have the cloth mixed with Softex, and that's only on the XLE model. And there's those auto folding mirrors. So I was right that the XLE has that, as well as it has all the safety features, has the same technology, just doesn't have the heated seat, or the ventilated seats, I should say. Even has the wireless charger on here. There's another look at those cloth seats, which I think are quite attractive. And they're going to do really well in the hot weather, despite not having ventilation. You still have USB-Cs in the back row for the passengers on this entry-level trim. There are the smaller wheels, but the smaller wheels, in theory, should offer a better ride. Maybe not better handling, but better ride, as well as better fuel economy. Wow, here's what's sad. There are only 5 models in my area on the limited trim that come in the beige interior. That is disappointing. It should be at a much, much higher volume of availability. There's a look at that macadamia rear. And then, yeah, the two-tone in the front looks really, really good. It kind of reminds me of that old Prius two-tone from not the current gen or the newest gen, but the 4th generation Prius. Now, what about the Lexus ES? Should you be looking at a Lexus ES instead of a Crown Hybrid? Here's the thing. If you're spending much over $48,000 on the Crown, you could get yourself into a Lexus Hybrid. Now, what the Crown has over this is that it has better technology, better screen technology. The Crown has all-wheel drive standard, which the ES does not have all-wheel drive. Also, the Crown has better horsepower. So if you like the look of the ES, then to go for the ES. If you are spending this sort of money and you feel like you deserve a luxury brand for that price, I totally get it. If you can find a Crown in the XLE at around $40,000, if you can find a limited around $44,000, $45,000, I think that's a great buy. And you know, the Crown Platinum over $50,000, I just can't recommend it, even though that powertrain is fantastic. It's very, very well done. But I'll take 100 horsepower less and get 10 more miles per gallon and have pretty much the same smoothness, just not the same sort of responsiveness, if you know what I mean. But I'm going to shut it down there. Let me know which Crown you would want, which one you would be getting, which is the best buy, or would you just be getting a Lexus ES, or would you be saving a little bit of money and getting a Camry? Smash the like button if you made this far. Thank you for watching. I'll be heading over to Japan where they make the Crown, not to the Motomachi plant, but I'll be there in October for the Tokyo Motor Show, where I'll see the whole Crown family. I cannot wait to debut the whole Crown family. We won't get them all in America, but the Crown Sport is probably coming. I'm almost positive about it. I can't say too much. And then the Crown Estate would be awesome to get here, but I don't think that one is coming at least anytime soon. And the Crown Sedan, yeah, you can kiss that one goodbye. You know, I wasn't that excited to get the Crown this week just because I'm still not sold on the looks of it, especially with this two-tone. If I had a single tone paint color, that might be a different story. But the vehicle's just so well built, it's so quiet, and it's so smooth. I don't want to get rid of it. I just feel like I want to keep it around and I want it to pamper me for a very, very long time. And the Crown, I think, is a better vehicle in some ways than the Lexus ES. But once that Lexus ES redesign comes around, I feel like the Crown and the ES will be able to separate themselves a bit. just right now, the Crown is kind of a better car with not as good of an interior, in my opinion, as the Lexus ES. But I'm going to shut down there. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day. Take care of yourselves and peace.